There's a reason why you can't stand modern actors. They're obnoxious, hypocritical, out of touch, the virtue signalling. They're just annoying.
It's Hollywood, baby.
Okay, let me start again. There are many reasons why you can't stand modern day actors, but I think I may have found the root cause. Recently, while doomscrolling through endless Sora 2 videos and the burgeoning AI backlash, I stumbled across a video that actually stuck with me. A video that brought home why cinema here in the West just feels dead, hollow, and detached. The video was an excerpt from a conversation between legendary talk show host here in the UK, Michael Parkinson, who's famous not just for being a talk show host, but for also having the greatest intro music of all time. He was talking to his guest and titan of cinema, Michael Caine. The conversation took place in 2002, where Caine was on the show to discuss his then upcoming film, The Quiet American.
You were an active soldier, weren't you, in Korea? A national serviceman, but you were...
I was a national serviceman, yeah. I was an infantryman.
What kind of action did you see?
Mostly patrol action. It was like the First World War. Trenches on either side, and then in the middle there's no man's land, which each side tries to control at night, you know? So what you get is you get bombardments all day long, and then if you're not lucky, you get sent out in the middle to control no man's land.
So I didn't actually know Michael Caine's history, apart from being a lovable Cockney gent that he is. So did some research. Caine did his national service in the 1st Battalion Royal Fusiliers and was sent to fight in the Korean War in 1952 after a short stint in Germany, having chosen active service over less direct service. So he chose to see action rather than push pencils around a desk, which again in itself is admirable.
For me, it was rather like an initiation, like in, say, in the Maasai, you know, they give you a short spear and say, go and kill a lion to prove you're a man. Every man, I'm sure, every person, you think, if I was in a dangerous situation, would I burst into tears or would I run away? Would I be a coward and shame myself? I accidentally happened to me in Korea when we got to a position, it was 4 of us. There's always little patrols go out, reconnaissance. I mean, give me a break. But we got out there, we could hear all the voices, and we knew we were surrounded. And then the Chinese always called at you, shouted at you, stuff. You know, you want to go home and all that stuff. And it's very eerie in the middle of the night. You know, I mean, you literally pee yourself with fear.
Sure.
But we just sat there, the 4 of us, and we all went, what are we going to do? And we all 4 of us said, we'll die expensive. And we were going to die expensive. And we decided, we charged. We knew we were going to die. I mean, there must have been 100 of them. And we charged. And we charged the wrong way.
It's clearly a harrowing experience that he went through. And although he's showing that stiff upper lip and the British sense of humour, you can tell that this is an experience that has shaped his entire life. I mean, he's discussing this some 50 years after the fact, but for a split second while you watch it there, you can see he's right back in that rice paddy staring down the fear of imminent death.
I realised that what I'd done, I said, I'm going to die dear. I'll die expensive.
He literally came face to face with the prospect of his own demise, and he chose to stand up and be counted. That kind of thing is easy to say, but not easy to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never seen combat, and I'm definitely not slating Rachel Zegler and her ilk for not either. It's not something I would wish anybody to have to go through. I'm very grateful to those that have done so that I didn't have to. But what I'm saying is this kind of experience has clearly stayed with him and shaped his life. The kind of things that he saw, the horrors of war, the honourable deeds that he clearly had to do, these are compelling elements to draw on as an actor.
It's incredible the things you can draw on. You know, you can draw on abject terror for a start. I know how to do abject terror.
He's not necessarily acting out the horrors of war, he's reliving them.
And I tell you what I do know, which is in the film, how to do shot horror.
What, you mean when
there's a shot in the film of me...
When the bomb goes off?
When the bomb goes off and I start to look around.
Yeah.
That comes straight from the first time I saw bombardment results in Korea. Comes straight from that.
Another one of my all-time favourite actors, Christopher Lee, just lived the most amazing of amazing lives. Born to an Italian contessa, was in the SOE, which was the SAS before the SAS was the SAS, during World War II, where he also fought in the Winter War in Finland against the Russians. What a hero. He apparently witnessed the last public execution by guillotine in France. He also climbed Mount Vesuvius 3 days before it erupted and met the men who assassinated Rasputin. That's pretty awesome. Another actor, one of my childhood heroes, Steve McQueen, an absolute legend of the screen. Again, he had a turbulent youth and went to reform school and then ended up in military service. He served the US Marine Corps. Again, a man from humble beginnings that went on to live the most incredible life and do the most incredible things. Gene Hackman, who, as we all know, sadly passed away this year, lied about his age and enlisted in the US Marine Corps at the age of 16, serving in China, Japan, and Hawaii. A man of action that became Hollywood's man of action. And I'm not saying it's all about fighting in wars or, serving in the military. I mean, Michael Madsen, who also sadly passed away this year, he had a troubled upbringing, spent time in juvenile jail. He was a mechanic and a paramedic before he became an actor. Harrison Ford was a carpenter before he became my actual childhood hero, Indiana Jones. Christopher Walken was a lion tamer's apprentice in a circus.
Come again?
And the list goes on. Clint Eastwood lived a life. Jimmy Stewart. I don't like our politics, but Whoopi Goldberg was a phone sex worker before she got into comedy and film. Now, these people had scars, history, loss, responsibility. They lived in a time, in a world where you had to go out and live. When you look at it, we're just over a generation and a bit that was brought up on Instagram, YouTube. There was no grand event for my generation to take part in like our forefathers did. Although I suppose we had the Iraq War and war on terrorism and all that. But it wasn't the same as the First and Second World War. And there's nothing like that for Gen Z yet. I suppose COVID could have been something like that, but just look how divided life has become since then. And I genuinely feel sorry for kids these days. Life isn't about expressing yourself or being an individual that's worthy of respect or worthy of being looked up to. It's all about fitting in and conformity and about being part of a collective. And so in a world, in a society where that is forced upon us, it's not really fair to expect anything apart from that from the current crop and future crops of Hollywood actors, whoever they are, because the era of the Hollywood star died ages ago. And I have no idea who many of the current generation of actor that Hollywood is offering is. I mean, who on earth is Glenn Powell or Amelia Jones?
I don't know.
So in conclusion, the reason why Hollywood actors are so detestable these days is because they're over-nurtured, untested, talentless, narcissistic, pampered, performative. I could go on. Their problem is they have never had to sacrifice anything beyond their souls to get where they are now. They're a product of their time and their environment. And so what really separates Hollywood actors of the present from the stars of the past? Maybe it just comes down to time and environment. And despite our problems in the past, in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, maybe it was just a better time and a better place. But that's just what I think. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my content. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.